introduce ourselves. Time is running. It's running. Okay. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Angela, and if you're new here, welcome to the family. I'm excited to see you here. As you can see by the title, we are doing something a little bit different, a little bit new. This kind of reminds me of my natural hair video when I was just sitting in this room during my Easter break and chatting to you guys, and I do love to chat. So what inspired this series? What is Chats with Angie or Angela? I don't know what I'm going to name it yet. It's basically a space for me to talk about all things that the Lord lays on my heart. It can be to do with His word, it can be to do with my life, whatever is going on at the time. And if you guys have been following me like on Instagram and TikTok, you would know that I'm very much a voiceover girly. Like, I like to talk. I like to talk about what the Lord is teaching me. I've been doing that since maybe 2 years ago. And I feel like this is a space to create a long form content version of that, and to spread what I feel like I've been hiding for a while, where I feel like my voice should only be contained in short form content. I'm now stepping into like a greater calling and realizing that no, like, you can talk for longer and people will listen. And something that the Lord told me a while ago actually, but sometimes we delay, is that people will follow me just to listen to me. He told me people want to listen to me, people want to listen to what I have to say, that I have something important to say. And He showed me that in various forms, and I still don't listen sometimes. He showed me that through the people that turned up to my event, my sold out event, to hear me and other people speak, people who just genuinely follow me on a day-to-day. So why would I not think that? And it's like, it may not be for you, it may be for you, and that's actually okay. I feel like you yourself will figure that out as you watch me and as you watch this series. So this is my little debrief. I haven't come to you guys and spoken to you guys properly, like life update kind of vibe, since I graduated, which was pushing 4 months, 4 or 5 months, because we're in November right now. Yeah, so let's get into it. I have to leave at 40 past, don't I? God, it's 22 past. Okay. So the actual day of graduation, I wouldn't say it was fully underwhelming. I would say it was like in between. So I remember the day and the day before and the day after very vividly. The day before, me and Toyosi took the train after work to Euston. No, from Euston, not even. We got to Euston and they cancelled all the trains. So it was like, okay. I just remember the night being so, for me, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm graduating tomorrow. Like, this is the last time that I'm staying in this house. Like, yeah, so it was just a lovely night. Like, it was me, Toyosi, and Tolu came over. Initially, he came over to bring Toyosi a towel because she forgot her towel when she was staying with me. But I don't think he brought one. I can't remember what happened. Anyway, but it just turned into a conversation. But it just reminded me, like, that moment, it just made me think, wow, like, this is like the last time we're gonna have this kind of like just moment where we just spontaneously talk about anything that we always do, like at uni. And I was just like, oh, that's kind of sad. But yeah, I would say it was overwhelming in the sense that, wow, like, it was kind of like, this is over. But I feel like it was a good graduation, and I had a really nice time afterwards because a couple of my friends came back over after, and we just we cooked and we watched a movie and we had some cake, and it was just a little fun little thing. So right now I'm actually content with where I am. I'm currently working, but I'm not going to say no to the fact that full-time could happen at a moment in my life, because I'm still very, very young. I'm 21, and there's multiple things that I know that the Lord wants to do in my life. So I would never be opposed to that being a season of my life where I just go full-time with it. I kind of expect it to, but hey, God could say something else. But I expect it to at a time. It's related to the fact that I know the lengths that he's taking me, which in my mind logically would only make sense if I was to go full time. But yeah, times and seasons, I'm really excited for times and seasons to occur naturally in the Lord's pattern. I wrote a succinct list here because I knew I'd forget. Harvest Digest, work, content, church, and room decor. Room decor, you can see behind me. I don't think I've actually released the video. I've been doing a room renovation video. Like, my prints are up and I've got this bed and I've got a lot of other things in my room that I'm so excited to show you guys. Harvest Digest, like, that is literally my baby. Like, I love her so much. She's currently stressing me out a little bit though, because it's just, you know, lots of work. I launched that in September, so I'm really enjoying this season of writing, which I never really saw myself doing, but writing weekly is something. It's not easy, but it's part of the process of building something greater than what you guys see now already on the Harvest Digest. Work, as I told you, that is obviously a priority because, like, contract, I'm enjoying that as well, and that is obviously a big priority, and it's a big part of me learning skills in the fashion industry, specifically in fashion design and business, all of that. With content, I've been up and down. If you have noticed, I have been taking pictures has been on a hold, if you've seen my Instagram, but yeah. Church is another thing. I'm becoming more immersed in my church home. I am part of a committee that kind of helps to build our community of young adults in our local branch. So I'm really excited to work with the other team members to facilitate that. Alongside that, I'd say that my priorities right now is just creating a consistency with this series and also just remaining sane and happy. Yes and no. Warwick is not a real place. People there are not real. We or they, hey, I'm out now, but they speak their own language, like, but it's specifically the Christian bubble, like, only we will get it. It won't translate outside. There are times I have come back to London and used my lingo and it doesn't work. People don't get it, and it's fine. It's just that you have to remember that you are in a bubble and you cannot just assume that everybody outside the bubble understands what you're trying to say. Another thing, I obviously have lived in London all my life, so it's not like I don't know London culture, but when you're away for 3 years, you do forget, or your mind just isn't there. So when I came back, I was reminded that people here are not quote unquote nice. And to be fair, I'm comparing nice to like people at work who are like genuinely overly kind and nice, like so nice, right? But I just don't think I personally don't think it's overly nice, because I just feel like that should be standard. People even outside of the UK can attest to the fact that if you come to the UK, everybody just looks sad. I'm not gonna now come and bash everybody in London because I'm actually from London too. I'm not saying that's the way that everybody is, but I just feel like it's definitely a culture. So I think sometimes it can be hard to distinguish yourself from it. But then on the other hand, I feel like when you do have conversations with people, you do obviously see that there's more to London than just that. I would say yes, it is good training ground because, number one, it showed me that it's actually not okay. No, it showed me that it's actually okay to show like abundant expressions of kindness, if that makes sense. Like, it's actually okay to be very kind, and you're not weird, you're not like, what's the word, overbearing. Like, it's not that, like, you're just trying to be nice, or you're not a bear. Secondly is that it showed me that there are generally people who desperately love Jesus, and when I mean desperately, like, they yearn for Jesus. And not being exposed to a large culture of that beforehand, and then being exposed to it at uni, I was amazed, I was stunned, and I was happy. The third thing I'll say is that at Warwick, one thing I'll say about that place is that anything that you put your mind to, you can do. People will support you. There are the resources, there are places and people who will lift up your mindset and also believe in the vision that you have. Then you have people like Anne who hosted the beauty hub. You can now obviously sell the tickets like outside and put other people to come in. And then she also had the help of us and like a large team of people who were willing to volunteer and help out, even if they have their own schedules. Similar with me when I did my event, The Harvest, it's like I had all these people who were able to help me. Especially for me, it was very heartfelt just because everybody was doing exams. Like those movies where they're like singing and like going around the trees and like na 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 na.
The 12 Dancing Princesses.
Oh,
no.
Not that.
That was in the bedroom.
Oh, was it? I totally don't know what that is.
Swan Lake. Like there's one where they're dancing around the river.
Yeah, that's one. Actually, to be fair, they do have a scene like that.
Okay,
alright,
guys. Yeah.
Hiya.
Should we start walking to the location?
Yeah.
Except for the swans.
No, we're just doing a photo shoot today.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get a move on. What was I even saying before? But yeah, my scarf is from ASOS. And I don't know what else really. I've got curls at the end of my braids. I recurled them today because they were not giving. They were, but the curls are better today. They're better. My earrings are from the jewelry. My jumper's from Superdry. My skirt is from Mikas. This is a real cool vibe. I'm really enjoying this field trip today. I didn't actually think it would be like this, but it's just the way that God moves. Because I was thinking I was gonna dread this. Right. I think it's up here, guys.
I think you're right, because that's it over there, isn't it? You know when I was watching documentary, I saw them walk this way.
Yeah.
I recognise.
No, yeah, it is. Yeah, you're correct. Me, that even went. Me, I don't even know myself.
This is just so cinematic.
It is. And even if they don't have the capacity to do something physically, they always show up in the place of prayer. All birthdays is a big thing as well. The one I did for my 21st, I literally just hosted a dinner party. It was like a 2000s, 90s, like romance dinner party in one of the buildings in our uni. And I just invited my friends and literally cooked food. Like, you guys saw it, like, it was good. So, like, the vision you have in your mind can genuinely just be made plain and happen, like, for real, in Warwick. The idea of uni is more so, like, very much more optional than it was before. And people are doing other things like just going straight into work or, like, taking an apprenticeship. And I feel like all of the varieties are so amazing, but I feel like with the uni, it still should not be underlooked because there's certain experiences that you have there that you won't have, or you won't have the privilege of having as a very young adult before you get into like your adult kind of vibe. So things like living with people, I think that's such a privilege, just to understand the home life, just to understand independence, understand how to create your own schedule, to fend for yourself, to shop for yourself, to budget, and to understand the culture of what it's like to live with a friend, which can actually give you, or with friends, which can give you insight into whether you want to do that in the future, whether you don't want to do that in the future. For me, I feel like I learned a lot about caring and sharing and just being open with the things that you have physically. It just prepares you for future things, whether it is like the marital sense, in the sense of you don't buy for me, you buy for we sometimes. And I'm not saying that we don't go and buy things like for ourselves because we have our own like student finance and all that stuff, but sometimes just out of the blue, or if your friend isn't feeling well or whatever it is, like they can't go shopping but they need groceries, it's like, okay, what do you want, let me come and get it for you. Yes and no, because I'm not becoming a psychologist, I'm not going to go further in studying psychology. Yes, because I always tell people whenever it's like, oh, like you're doing fashion, like you study psychology, but like a lot of people do kind of clock on that psychology has a very, very massive impact into the consumer industry, or the consumer mind in business, but also in fashion and in the way that we choose designs and what works for the customer. And just analyzing customer behavior is a massive thing. Trend forecasting, I could go on forever, but psychology is very much involved in fashion. I'd say that it's definitely been up and down. Mentally has been more so to do with like my career, like lots of just a lack of stability in just life, just kind of just going and going, and you're trying to figure things out and trying to almost keep up the pace with time. I've experienced a lot of comparison and confusion in this current season, which is why I've had to sometimes just really step back from social media, and I feel like I'm going to do a greater step back in the next month, but I might talk about that another time. I always say that, you know, when you're at uni with people, like the one thing that you kind of have in common is the fact that you all go to uni, but when you leave, there's like the things that you have in common lessen. So everybody's at different stages in life, everybody's like doing different things, having different like work, like jobs, internships, salaries. So I think comparison can definitely kick in when it's like it feels like one person is moving faster than the other. But understanding the pace of your life in like relative to what God is saying rather than relative to what you're seeing around you, because that's not what's important. I'd say faith wise, the aspects of fellowship and community is something you have to kind of also build rather than something that is just given to you. So for me, it was just kind of given to me. Not to say I didn't do any building, but yeah. Whereas now it's like, obviously I'm now back in my church home. I don't have like any separate fellowships that are like what we used to have at uni, and I feel like it's just a slow process, and I feel like that's normal because you have a lot of people who are either new in the church, or you're just not familiar with, or you're just trying to immerse yourself back into something that you weren't in for 3 years. So I think it's just a slow progress. There's also been confusion with what God is saying. Sometimes I feel like there's a cloud over my eyes, and I'm like, God, like, what do you want me to do next? But I think it's just because like this season of life doesn't come with a traditional sense of clarity that other seasons where you're in education do. Reminding yourself that God isn't a God of confusion, but he's somebody who reveals as he desires to you. Like we see in part, we hear in part, that verse, and there's a reason for that, because that like God does not reveal all from heaven to you at once. Like we wouldn't even be able to contain that at once. And God is so orderly, and yeah, he's so orderly with what he reveals to you within its time, and you only sometimes can appreciate that after, which is why sometimes we have the moments of complaining and like, oh God, you're not telling me what I'm gonna do. At least I do. And then he's like being a graduate has its struggles, but it has its good things. I would say struggles being things like just practically like money management, being okay with mistakes that you make, whether it be at work or in just general day-to-day life, being okay with not being so proximate to everybody like you were at uni. Then on the good side, there's just things like maturity and independence and learning how to, I don't know, like figure things out for yourself. It's kind of like you in your own movie, like, oh, what am I gonna do next? I don't know. Creating new experiences with people and just a greater self-discovery of life and Jesus and everything above. But yeah, thank you guys. I will see you in the next episode. Ciao.